The magic and mythology of the Aurorae. In the depths of darkness there is always light. When the moon is dark, the stars shine more brightly, and around the north and south poles of our planet, the blazing coloured trails of light, known as the Aurora Borealis, northern lights, and the Aurora Australis, southern lights, illuminate the night. These aurorae cannot but help but to inspire anyone lucky enough to catch a glance of them. They're elusive, ethereal, and ever-changing. They can appear in a wide variety of colours and forms. This magical and mysterious phenomenon has a scientific basis. The auroras are the result of charged particles from the solar wind colliding with the Earth's magnetic fields and atmosphere at the poles. But to our ancestors they seem to be magical and made by ancestral spirits, magical animals, or giants. The Aurorae phenomenon is not just limited to Earth. Other planets such as Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, and Uranus have also been seen to have auroras too. The first possible mention of the Northern Lights in recorded literature dates back to around the 6th century before the current era, and appears in the book of Ezekiel within the Old Testament. In China, in 2600 BCE, Fu Pao wrote about what she called strong lightning moving around a star, and the light illuminating the whole area. Aristotle in the 4th century BCE would refer to them as airy meteors. In the 1st century CE, Pliny would write of them in his Natural History as a flame of bloody appearance, which falls down upon the earth. It wasn't until 1621 of the current era that the phenomenon was named the Aurora by Per Gassendi. He chose to name it after Aurora, the Roman goddess of the dawn, and Boreas, the Greek god of the north wind. Throughout history, people from around the world told stories of these beautiful lights and came up with a huge array of explanations and interpretations of what caused them and what they meant. In some cultures, particularly active lights were said to portend war. To others, they were a reminder of their gods. In Finland, the lights are called revontulet, or foxfires, as they're said to be caused by an Arctic fox swishing a dusting of snow upwards into the sky, or caused by sparks where his fur brushes against the mountains. The tales differ a little. The Estonians believed that the lights were the result of light reflecting off water jets spurted out from the blowholes of whales as they played. To Ashenabig, they were the fires of their creator god, Nanabozo, lit to remind them of his love for all that he created, while the Inuit of Greenland considered the lights to be the souls of the departed playing a kind of football with a walrus skull. Interestingly, the people of Nunavak Island in the Bering Sea had the opposite belief, thinking the skull was human and the players were walruses. One Inuit myth describes how the Northern Lights once got into difficulties and became trapped inside some labradorite rocks down here on Earth. An Inuit warrior had in the meantime noticed the absence of the lights and decided to see if he could help. As he wandered the land seeking the lights or anyone who knew what had happened to them, he came across the trapped lights. He sought to free the lights and with his spear began to strike at the rocks to shatter them. Soon enough, the lights began to break free and return to the sky above. Despite giving it his very best effort, not all of the light was freed, so some remains trapped in the rocks today where they flash and shine in response to the aurora above. Tacitus, in his Germania, wrote of the northern lights hovering above the old Baltic Sea, and stated that people thought they could see their gods within the light shows. Later Scandinavian folklore attributes the lights to the fighting Valkyries. The lights are the sparks from their shields and weapons as they fight. In other versions, Freya, the goddess of magic and fertility, caused the lights as she rode across the sky in her lynx-drawn chariot, and some believe that the infamous Bifrost, or Rainbow Bridge, that connects our world to the world of the gods, is actually an aurora. Some others believe it's a rainbow. Indeed, our modern English for the Northern Lights probably comes from the Vikings, who called them Northlights, which means literally Northern Lights. In the British Isles, the lights were called things like the Nimble Men, Merry Dancers, or Perry Dancers, and were formed by giants dancing in the skies. Other Scottish legends also refer to the lights being caused by an almighty battle between two clans of giants as their chiefs fight for the right to wed a mythical princess. In Ireland, the Northern Lights were attributed to dancing fairies, and the Sidhe, the Irish fairies, as well as the old Irish gods and goddesses, were sometimes referred to as the Shining Ones. In William Allingham's poem, The Fairies, the old fairy king of the poem is said to be going up with music on cold starry nights to sup with the queen of the gay Northern Lights. Aboriginal people in south-west Queensland believe the aurora to be the fires of ghostly spirits. The Gunai of eastern Australia and a Ngara Jindri of the south reviewed the fires as those of the spirit world, and Gundit Jimara of West Victoria called the phenomenon Pway Bway, meaning ashes. For many Aboriginal Australians, indeed the indigenous peoples of the Arctic North, the lights were something to be respected and even feared. The Djeri and Wadjuk people, as well as some British and Scottish observers, view the lights as an omen of death or war. Red auroras and red skies were linked with blood, especially of warriors in the tales of Gaelic Scotland, and the Jarigo and Walgal people near Canberra. The Sami would show respect to the lights by keeping the noise down. They believed that mocking the lights, making excessive noise, or disrespecting their presence in any way would bring terrible ill fortune. However, the lights do not always portend doom and gloom. The Coronation Gulf Inuit of Canada saw the aurora as the spirits of good weather, and in Sweden a particularly spectacular winter light show was said to bless the land with fertility for the following year. Fishermen from Shetland would take care to note the behaviour of the lights. If they moved quickly, they portended bad weather, but if they moved in a slower, more graceful fashion, then good weather was forecast. Today, viewing the lights is considered a lucky rather than unlucky act, and people deliberately quest, travelling for miles and sometimes at great cost, to see this magical vision for themselves. Folklore from around the world reports that the lights can be heard as well as seen. The Roman writer Tacitus noticed this belief in his book Germania. The northern Sami word for the lights, Gohovsahasat, refers to something audible. Scottish law that says that the sounds of battle can be heard under the lights, and the Aboriginal peoples of Tasmania and elsewhere have reported sounds. For years, science dismissed this idea as complete rubbish. However, since the invention of radio technology, we have been able to hear more clearly and even record the noise of the lights. These sounds are really otherworldly and can resemble whistles, cracks, claps and clicks. As always, ancient tales do contain some seeds of truth. All we have to do is listen. So it seems we still have much to learn about the magical auroras and the strange power that they have over us as they enchant, ensnare and engage us with their moving, multicoloured magic. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.